Welcome back to the Toffee Blues, your source for all things Everton. I am Connor Williams and we're back with another one of our 24/7 news report videos. As always, we start these news report videos with our headline news, and our headline news this evening is that Everton have pulled back from appointing Pereira from the imminent appointment of Pereira after Farhad Moshiri's been persuaded not to make another knee-jerking decision. This has come from David Maddock, who writes for the Daily Mirror. I don't know who's advised him not to do this, but thank you. I know the window's closing, and that has got some Evertonians feeling a bit pressured. And I would say we need one or two more players. A creative midfielder wouldn't go amiss in this Everton squad, but it is really, really important. I wouldn't even say important. It is imperative that he makes the right choice here. Even if it's just a 6-month contract to see whoever it is out till the end of the season, or it's a 3-year contract, this has to be correct. If it's a 3-month contract, 6-month contract to see out the end of the season, it has to be correct, because the wrong appointment here can put us in real danger of dropping down into the relegation zone. And just for the sake of the future of the club, if it's a 3-year deal, it's got to be right, and it's imperative it's right for the future of Everton Football Club, because we can't keep doing this. Farhad Moshiri said this when he appointed Benitez, so he knows that his ghosts are coming back to bite him now. He knows that he's made mistakes. Benitez, I don't know why he ever thought that was the answer. He needs to make sure he doesn't do another Benitez here. If he gets somebody in who just damages this club more, it's going to cause the fan rate upset, to cause more protests. The fans will revolt. It will push us potentially into the Championship. It's got to be the right choice for Everton Football Club and for the future of the club. So whoever's told him not to make such a sharp, rash decision without thinking it through, thank you. You should never, ever, ever make these decisions on a rash judgment like that. How the man is a billionaire, I don't know, because if this is how he works in a boardroom, in a business world, then he must make a lot of mistakes. There's no way he makes rash decisions like this in the business world and comes up profits. It's madness. So thank you whoever's told him not to do that. Apparently Farhad Moshiri and Alisher Usmanov met with Pereira in Monaco. Again, that's come from David Maddock of the Mirror. He does a couple more that I'll read out now. Not a surprise, is it? Monaco, Farhad Moshiri quite likes it there. I think that's where he lives, that's his residency. Usmanov being involved, again, no secret there, is it? While we're not completely 100% sure of what role he has at Everton Football Club, it's pretty obvious he has a big one if he's meeting managers and interviewing managers before the likes of the board and Bill Kenwright gets to speak to him. So that should, highlight just how big of an input Usmanov has at Everton. It being in Monaco is purely that's their residency, which blows my mind that they're not looking at a man that I'm about to mention now a little bit more. But David Maddock from the Mirror also says Niko Kovac and Rudy Garcia are both being invited for presentations for the Everton manager's job. I don't know why Kovac isn't on the list more. The more I think about it, the more it boggles me. He did well at Frankfurt, did okay at Bayern, and then politics apparently. Then managed Monaco. Again, politics. He was actually doing really well at Monaco for them, and then got sacked. The fact that he was involved with Monaco and the fact that he's managed some big clubs, I thought that would do it for Moshiri. The only thing I think that maybe might go against him is the fact that he fell out with the Monaco powers that be. And if Moshiri watches, knows a lot about what goes on at Monaco, he might already know that and might be a little bit hesitant to have a man that won't be a yes man for Moshiri in the dugout. So maybe that's why. Rudy Garcia, I'm not that. I'm a bit. I don't think I do want him. I'd like Kovac more if you're going to go for any of them too. David Maddock also mentioned that that talks between Everton and the Belgium FA continued last week over the agreement for Roberto Martinez. There will be one last contact before any appointment is made. So it sounds like even though Moshiri sacked him and he would cost us a couple of million to break out of his clause, and the Belgium FA have said no, and the fact that he took the club to court for the compensation he was due. Before we make any appointment, our last protocol is to ring up Roberto Martinez and the Belgium FA just in case there's a chance. That blows my mind. So we could have a Lampard, a Rooney, a Kovac, from what I'm assuming from this report, nailed on, 100%. You know, all they've got to do is sign on the dotted line. And before they do that, this leads me to believe that the club are going to ring up the Belgium FA and Roberto Martinez and go, yeah, Rooney's about to sign. Are you 100% sure we can't work this out before he signs? And I take it if we can, they're going to go, okay, Wayne, we won't be needing you, mate. There's the door. Thanks for entertaining it, though. All the best at Derby. I'm sure it won't be awkward to try and, regroup them after you were about to leave them. See you later, Wayne. If that is true, that is a ludicrous way to run a football club and interview people. That is mental. There is also reports from Maddock in the Mirror that Frank Lampard has already been in contact and interviewed for the Everton job. But he could be invited to speak to Usmanov and Fahad Mejiri, so that leads me to think that he probably spoke to Bill Kenwright and the people in the board that are over in the UK. If he's gone to, this is why it's so confusing and why it's a mess at Everton. So if he's had his interview with the UK board members here, he will then be flown out to Monaco for an interview with those two. Whereas Vitor Pereira, before even talking to the UK lot, have spoken to Farhad and Usmanov first, and then I'm assuming might fly over, but I'm not too sure on that. This is why Everton Football Club is a mess that we're in. We have far too many people. Kia Shubashan, Alisher Usmanov, Farhad Mejiri, Bill Kenwright. There's 5 already. When Marcel Brands was here, he was involved in it. That was 6 people all having an input in how to run a football club. And I wouldn't mind if they're all singing off the same hymn sheet, but as these managerial hunts tend to suggest, they're not singing off the same sheet. They've all got different ideas of what they think Everton Football Club should be. And do you know what? The only people's opinions that really do matter, which is the fans, can't get their voices heard by the powers that be. Which leads me on to the next story. Banners have been put up outside Goodison Park, protesting against Farhad Mejiri and Kia Zubashan. This has come from the 27 years campaign. One of the banners reads, Mejiri, if you want success, change the mess. Kia not welcome, and 27. Obviously, if you know on Twitter, this is a campaign that's tried to pull some weight in the last couple of weeks. They arranged a walkout at Arsenal. Unfortunately, that didn't go down as well as anybody had hoped. They did the sit-in at Aston Villa, which looked a little bit better. But the guys that running it are brilliant. I follow them on Twitter, and I've joined a couple of their Twitter spaces. It's brilliant. Listening to them, they share the same passion, the same frustration as every one of us. And it's a campaign, guys, that if you really do want change at Everton, you've got to back it. And I don't want to sound preachy, and it's your choice. But for me, this is one where if you want change, this is the thing we need to do now. We need to back a campaign like this, because change isn't going to come from a couple of boos at Goodison Park. It's going to have to come now from real protests and banners, sit-ins, walkouts, stuff like that, for our voices to be heard. Which is such a shame that this is the state that the club's at. But if that's what we need to do to be heard, we also have from Alan Myers now. Vitor Pereira has had further discussions in the next 2 days with Fahad Mejiri. Frank Lampard is to discuss the role next week. There's been no contact for Wayne Rooney. Roberto Martinez is not possible due to his Belgium commitments. That's come from Alan Myers and, of course, from Sky. Alan Myers also said no appointment is imminent. It's very possible that it could come this week, but he basically says, he's not too sure. It could come this week, it could not. I think from what Alan Myers has said there, he basically said Roberto Martinez's chances are slim, as did David Maddock from the Mirror, which is a good thing. Vitor Pereira still looks to be way too entertained by the powers that be for my liking. We shouldn't be entertaining that man, and he's getting a lot of buzz about him, and I don't know why. There's nothing in his career to suggest that he deserves to be a manager of a Premier League club. Let alone Everton. I tell you who I think Vitor Pereira screams of an esque manager. He screams Watford-esque appointment. Some absolute person that is completely, out of field. Nobody else would have thought of it. Give him a chance and sack him in about 4 months. It screams Watford, which unfortunately, Having Zed Cars as the walkout theme isn't the only thing we seem to have had in common with Watford in the last couple of years. The way we go through managers, the poor running behind the scenes, there's a lot more similarities now than I'd like. But yeah, he's got a Watford-esque appointment all over him in the Pozzos, and that's why we should be avoiding him. Lampard, he wasn't my first choice. Kovacs my first choice. Then it's probably Rooney or Dunk, just because, not for that I know the club, I just don't think Lampard, I just don't feel it personally. But he, you know, if he was appointed, I'd get behind him, obviously, and he's better than some of the names being listed. So you know, I think that'd be the point with Lampard. I'd be like, do you know, it could be worse, which again isn't the greatest way to look at an appointment, but it's better than nothing. I think some of the stuff he does promotes the youth and stuff like that would be really nice to see at Everton. It's something fans love. We love seeing the young lads get a go and get to develop. Look at Anthony Gordon; he's becoming a fan favourite this season. Not just because he's very good, but because he's a young lad, a local lad as well. Always helps, but like a young lad who's got a lot of fire. But that is everything I've got time for today. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe and comment down below. I do read all your comments, so I much appreciate it. Let me know your thoughts on the managerial mess. Are you glad that Martinez stuff's died down? Vita Pereira, is it a little bit worrying how many interviews he seems to be getting? You can mention as well just the absolute mess that we've got. Usmanov and Majiri in Monaco interviewing randomers. Bill Kenwright and co here interviewing randomers. Kia Shubashan whispering suggestions in ears. I personally think there's too many chefs at Everton, and it's going to spoil the broth for all of us. And let me know about all the other stuff I've discussed in today's video. And most importantly, guys, stay safe, take care, and we may have a new manager by the end of the week. Who knows?